Lockport, please rise for the pledge. Kathy, could we do a roll call, please?
You got it. Wheeler.
Here.
Garland.
Here.
Maloney.
Here.
Oxley.
Here.
Peters.
Here.
Likens.
Here.
Deskin.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 14th meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Wheeler.
Second.
Second by Likens. Any questions, comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We have two public hearings tonight. We're going to switch them up and do PH2 first, the special use for the auto repair. So we have a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Deskin,
Second.
second by Likens. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Kimberly?
Thank you, Chairman. One second, let me get that aerial. Technical difficulties. Thank you. The case before you tonight is case number 2023-005. The applicants, Zofia and Marcin Dugopolski, owners of the property located at 15062 Archer Avenue, are seeking approval of a special use permit to allow an auto repair shop. A special use permit requires a public hearing. All notification requirements have been completed for the public hearing. An aerial map is displayed on your monitor. The subject property is outlined in yellow. The subject property consists of a triangular-shaped parcel totaling approximately 4 acres and is generally located on Archer near the 151st Street intersection. The property is zoned C2 Community Commercial. Auto repair is classified as a special use within the C2 district. As a condition of the special use permit for an auto repair business, property updates that are primarily related to parking needs and parking lot improvements will need to be addressed. The City Council may authorize by ordinance the establishment of this special use as designated in the C2 Community Commercial Zoning District. All requirements and restrictions of the C2 Commercial Zoning District shall be applicable to the establishment and maintenance of the special use. The special use would run with the land and shall be transferable to future owners and/or tenants. The Plan and Zoning Commission shall provide recommendation to the City Council. A special use permit shall be granted only if evidence is presented to establish the following. A, the proposed use at the particular location requested is necessary or desirable to provide a service or facility which is in the interest of the public and will contribute to the general welfare of the neighborhood or community. Staff finds that the proposed auto repair business use could be a benefit to the surrounding community. B, the proposed use will not have a substantial adverse effect upon the adjacent property, the character of the neighborhood, traffic conditions, utility facilities, and other matters affecting the public health, safety, and general welfare. The use will take place within an enclosed building and should not have adverse effect upon adjacent property. And C, the proposed building or use will be designed, arranged, and operated so as to permit the development and use of the neighboring property in accordance with the applicable district regulations. Staff finds that there is no new development taking place at this time, and as a condition of approval, the parking lot and exterior areas will need to be updated and maintained in an orderly manner in accordance with applicable regulations. A site plan is displayed on your monitor. The area that is highlighted in green, that's actually a landscape area, but what this markup is intended to show you future parking that would meet future parking demand for a repair shop. Should the commission find the special use permit for an auto repair shop acceptable, the following motion is suggested. Oops. A motion to adopt the findings of facts as presented to recommend the approval of the special use permit for auto repair shop within the C2 district with the following conditions. There are 12 conditions displayed on your monitor. 1, a new business permit will be needed from the city's building department. 2, all repair activities shall take place within an enclosed building. 3, inoperable vehicles shall not be stored outside of the building. 4, expansion beyond the existing building shall not occur. This could result in the revocation of the special use permit. 5, all conditions and remaining items established in the planning staff review memo dated February 16th, 2023 shall be addressed. 6, remove the surface and resurface the existing parking areas, provide required parking as illustrated in the parking markup at the time of new business permit. 7, certain parking lot landscaping requirements could apply. The applicant shall work with planning staff at the time of the parking lot improvements. The city's landscape ordinance can be found in the development code. 8, the parking lot and premises shall be operated in an orderly manner within the parameters of the special use permit and shall be maintained in accordance with city code. 9, any proposed and new signage will need a separate sign permit. 10, dumpsters will need to be screened in accordance with city code. Details of an enclosure are required prior to construction as a part of building permit. Vinyl or wood fence material is suitable given its location. 11, proposed interior and exterior remodel renovation will require a building permit. And 12, outdoor surfaces should be lit appropriately. Any new outdoor lighting shall be reviewed and approved by the city. That concludes staff's analysis, and the applicant is here this evening for questions.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public wishes to speak on this matter? If so, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Sonny, will you do the honors?
Yes. Hi, my name is Wendy Velasic. I'm an adjacent property owner. I live at 15021 High Road.
And could I have you raise your right hand, please? This is a public hearing and you're being sworn in. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
I guess I just had some concerns because the people that have owned this property in the past have not always followed the rules that you set forth. So, yeah, I guess I'm not real familiar with the zoning, but in the past, when they would come for a special use, I know there's other things that the special use entitles them to do if another person were to choose. I know in the past it was adult bookstore and some undesirable things. So I guess I would like you to consider that, what other uses this property could be used for with the special use when these people no longer are using it for the auto repair facility. I'm also concerned with the drainage as everything kind of flows down to my property. You said outdoor lighting. Again, if you would keep it in mind that you do have residential around that property. And then what would be, like, between my property and theirs, would there be some type of a barrier for runoff or anything of that nature as you possibly put asphalt down for parking?
Wendy, where's your property? I know you're on High Road, but where at compared to this?
I'm the one over their back fence.
Okay. It's up on the monitor. I mean, there's a creek that flows through there, correct?
Yes,
Yes. So the water from the property goes into the creek, not onto your property.
well, it goes, the creek runs through the middle of my 10 acres.
Okay.
So, depending on what I would be doing back there, it could be a problem for me as
Trying
well.
to familiarize everybody with exactly where it is.
Okay,
Okay.
so, thank you for your
Okay,
time.
we'll answer all these questions all at once after.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Hearing none, is the developer present?
Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Zofia Długopolski, 15062 Archer Avenue, Lockport, Illinois, 60441.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for the public or us that you have?
Well, there will be no oil change, so there will be no issue with oil drainage or anything like that. It will be strictly only auto repair shop, so there will be no issues with any kind of drainage that will go across the property that's on a high end. And it's, over there it's woods. I don't think that's developed, and that's pretty far away from us. I don't even know what's the zoning over there.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone have any questions for the owner? Yeah. Anybody? Matt?
I've got one. So you're going for a special use currently, is it for your own business or for someone else's business?
For potential use, we don't really have anybody yet, but we would like to advertise for a small auto repair just to get somebody into the building, because obviously due to the property, size and the location and the limitations that we have with the special use, we wanted to go ahead of the, schedule and first have a special use and then advertise it for, hey, well, willing to rent it for a special use permit, so we don't have any issues with zoning or, any violations or anything like that, just planning ahead.
Understood.
There was a auto repair use there previously,
Yeah.
and the timing had lapsed. It had gone over a year,
A couple of years
which,
ago?
which requires the update of the special use permit.
And there was a siding company in there, I think,
Correct.
lastly. Right?
There's been a number of different companies in
Several
there.
different uses, yeah.
Yeah, I think the last one, the auto repair, was back in 2015 when we purchased the property, yeah. But since then, it's been a small construction company in
Right, because it
there.
was in conjunction with an auto repair from Homer Township, from Homer Glen.
That is correct, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can answer a couple of the audience questions.
Yeah.
Related to drainage, nothing is changing about the existing parking lot. It's simply being resurfaced as it is. So there's no expansion of that existing parking lot. So whatever drainage currently occurs will continue to occur. It didn't trigger any stormwater requirements because nothing is changing. It's just simply being resurfaced. And so the existing condition is what it will remain. The use is specific to auto repair. There are no other available options for this special use to be used for something else, unless it's a permitted use within the district, or they would need to come back to this body if they want to open a different special use from what this is for the auto repair.
Right.
Lighting would need to follow our code requirements, so it would have 0.0 foot candles at the property lines. We would certainly look to shield the backside of the lighting and use some house side shields on that to protect the neighbors. I certainly understand that concern. And like I said before, the parking lot asphalt surface is not changing, but there are a couple of modifications that they're making as it relates to the fenced area in order to meet our parking requirements.
I think, Matt, prior to them owning it, there was a small engine repair shop there, lawnmowers and stuff. I think that was prior to your ownership.
That is correct, Superior.
So it's pretty much, Julia Boiler built the building originally, and then it went to the small engine, and it is, so it's pretty much the same, just getting ready for sales.
We could actually draft up the special use permit ordinance to specifically state that if there's any expansion or violation of a special use condition, that it will automatically terminate that use, so there is no question of that there has to be some type of action done by the city council to revoke that special use. Again, if there's any expansion or change of the use, it will automatically be revoked. And that would allay the concern of the neighborhood, surrounding neighbors, that all of a sudden it would go from an auto use repair and then be in violation, and then they have to deal with some code violation later on and have to, go through enforcement issues, so it will automatically cease.
Because
Very
I
well
was
put,
under
Sam.
the impression that the special use only will be with us as the owners, and if we do decide to sell it, then they will have to do the same thing as we have, reapply for it, so we're okay
It
with
goes
that.
with, I believe it
Yeah.
goes with the property.
This one would go with the property.
Whatever you guys want.
Well, a special use, sometimes it goes with just that owner. In this case, it will transfer if you sell it.
Okay.
Is that correct, Kimberly?
Yes.
That's correct.
Sure. Please stand up and state your name and address.
1502 on High Road.
If you could, sir, if you could go up there,
the
because in order to keep an accurate record under the Open Meetings Act, we need to have you there. And please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
15021 High Road. I live directly behind the property. First question for you. You had truck repair there for the last year, which they put an end to. Why did you not have that rezoned for the truck repair? I was just curious, because I know I had a lot of trouble with them.
Because the city will not allow it. We tried, but the.
But why did you not go through this
We won't
process
allow
before
it.
you
Keith.
had
They
the...
would not
Keith,
allow it either.
please address us, and
Oh,
we won't allow the
I'm
truck
sorry.
repair.
It's,
Okay.
it's in the wrong zoning district for truck repair, so it wasn't able to be.
I know, because I had so much trouble calling her this and that and this and that, and it kept going on and on. I have dozens of tractor trailers parked back there. Second question, behind the building, there's all like a gray area. That's illegal fill that was dumped back there. I had a call, they dumped one truck, spread it out, they stopped them, they dumped a couple more. Is there parking allowed back there behind that building, yes or no?
No.
Okay, so I'll never, if this goes through, I'll never have to worry about parking all kinds of cars or trucks or any kind of vehicles back
There
there.
cannot be any outdoor storage.
That's my main concern, so. But you've been terrible neighbors, horrible.
Okay,
Horrible.
okay, Keith,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, any questions from,
Sophia, how long have you owned the property? What year did you purchase it?
2015,
2015.
that is correct, So it's going on the 8th year.
What is the condition? Wouldn't it, with the aerial map that we see on the screen, was taken a current GIS
the map, Kimberly,
Map.
when was this picture
It's
taken?
2022. I believe.
2022? Okay.
But the gray area that you see in the back, I have survey from the 2015 when we purchased the property that was placed already at the time when the Superior Landscaping had the property, because obviously they had outdoor storage, they had, a lot of stuff out there in the back. The entire yard was filled.
Yeah, because I'm looking at a Google Earth satellite image dated May 29th, 2021, and it's a complete mess back there. So that's why I asked the question, what's the date of this one
Yeah,
here?
this is the most recent one, yes.
Okay. And is there anything back there now?
No, it's empty, it's just grass.
Okay.
Any questions, comments, Bill?
Will the future auto repair work that's going to be in that building include the spray painting of automobiles or spray painting of vehicles?
No. No painting included.
Okay. If that's ever becomes a consideration, a body shop has to have an OSHA-approved paint booth.
Yes, we know that, we're aware of it. That's why
Okay.
that's why we're not including that in it.
And I believe our code calls for the shop area to have floor drains and a grease trap. Does the shop area equipped that way?
I believe so.
Our building department will take all that into consideration when they come in for building permits and the business license.
Okay, you're going to be servicing and repairing small engines or vehicles inside the building. What type of ventilation system do you have there for carbon monoxide?
Oh, gosh, I don't know the answer to that question, do you?
All of those will be
If it needs to be
required.
updated per building inspector, we will. We have an inspection every year. There seems to be no issue with anything. Everything's up to the date. But if there is anything specific that will have to be done in order, for the future auto repair, to get a building permit, we'll work with them to get it done.
No, my concern is all the repair work is going to be done inside the building. Internal combustion engines produce carbon monoxide, and there needs to be an adequate ventilation to see to it that the carbon monoxide does not build up too high.
But
That will be
we're-
handled, Bill, with the permitting process and
Okay, I just wanted,
model of the building and stuff of that nature.
Yeah, but we don't want to go that round. We're looking for like a small, like handyman guy with the small bumper-to-bumper repair, something that, a small contractor is looking for a small area where you can just do small repairs, like, on the cars. No, we've been around with, with the engines, and we're not going that route.
well, if they're going to be running internal combustion engines inside the building, there needs to be adequate ventilation.
Yeah.
That's only my
We
concern.
don't have anybody yet, but if there would be an option, we'll communicate with the building department and, you know, whatever inspections and whatever needs to be done to have this, you know, updated, we will,
Okay, that's sufficient.
in order for us to get the new business license for the new, you know, tenant.
Okay, so everybody's clear. The lighting will conform to our ordinance, which is 0 looms at the lot line. There's no outside parking of semis, cars, or anything, and special use permit for auto repair.
That is correct.
And you agree to do the parking lot maintenance and repaving and all that stuff?
That is correct, uh-huh.
Okay.
With
Okay.
the existing condition, not redoing any paving, just using the existing conditions of the
Right.
parking.
Okay. Thank you much. Any other questions, comments? All right, motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Moved by Gardner,
Second.
second by Peters. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, what's your pleasure here?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make the motion to find the special use permit for an auto repair shop acceptable according to the following motions 1 through 12 per staff's request.
Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Gardner. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
thank you. This will go before city council on April 5th, 7 PM in this room. Thank you. Okay, next we have a amendment to SUP planned unit development to final development for subdivision 159th Farrell Road to Rose Lockport Center. Do we have a motion to open public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
We're fighting over who's made it. You get it, Kenny? Likens in here, okay, thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Kimberly?
Thank you, Chairman. The next case before you is case number 2023-001. The applicant, Diane Menza, on behalf of Shelby LLC, is seeking a major amendment to a plan development, an amendment to preliminary final development plans, and preliminary final subdivision plat for the Rose Lockport Center commercial development comprised of approximately 6.3 acres with 6 commercial outlots. An aerial is displayed on your monitor. Also, too, I want to address a correction that applies to the general information chart in the staff memo for the zoning district. The zoning of the subject property is C2. Such property is zone C2, community commercial, and is impressed with a special use permit for planned development known as Rose Lockport Center. Development was approved by ordinance number 16-002, which included annexation, rezoning, special use permit for planned development with drive-through facilities, preliminary and final subdivision plat, and preliminary and final development plan for the overall development, and the final development plan for the Murphy's gas station. The commission may recall that prior to this amendment, the applicant presented a formal concept plan seeking assurance from the city that the proposed development plans would be acceptable. Resolution number 22-046 was approved in May 2022, which would update the approved agreements and reconfigure the site plan to accommodate potential new developers. The amendment will re-subdivide the existing development and divide Lot 1, which was originally intended to accommodate a larger commercial building with multiple tenants, into 2 smaller lots, 1A and 1B, for 2 standalone buildings with future drive-through facilities. A drive-through facility is deemed a special use within the C2 zoning district. Let me transfer that. A final site plan is displayed. The proposed alteration to the plat and plan will result in the creation of 1 additional lot Any increase in the number of lots is deemed a major amendment to a planned development. Major amendments require approval by the City Council upon recommendation from the Plan and Zoning Commission. A public hearing is required with appropriate notification. All required notifications have been completed. A final plat of subdivision was submitted, which includes only lots 1A, 1B, 2, and 5. Existing lots 3 and 4 were not included, as no lot changes will take place for those 2 lots. A final development plan is in conformance with the approved 2022 concept site plan. The final development plans include the construction of the access and internal private drive, stormwater management, sidewalks, lighting, and utilities. Upon city approval, the overall improvements will begin construction. Future commercial buildings will be developed by others. The final site plan shows an increase in the number of lots from 5 to 6 to include the detention basin. The plan consists of 2 smaller standalone commercial buildings versus the prior 11,500 square foot multi-tenant building on Lot 1. The smaller lots are shown as Lot 1A and 1B. There are 2 QSR buildings, approximately 2,600 square feet, with drive-through proposed on both lots. General circulation and access points are similar to the 2016 approved plan. Full access into the development would take place at the northeast corner and would align with the Jewel Osco access. The full access with a traffic signal south of the Murphy's gas station would also provide access. Cross-access will be provided internally and will connect with the existing Culver's restaurant. Adequate parking is provided, and the approved final landscape plan from 2016, which was included in your packets, will remain in effect. Any plantings that were not provided or that were damaged or lost shall be provided. Required transitional yard buffering along the west limits of the development will be replenished as needed. Elevations will be provided separately for each lot at the time of final development plans. Engineering review comments. All comments from the city's development engineering consultant have been addressed. And the Lockport Township Fire Protection District and the city's building official have no comment at this time. We display the motion. Should the commission find the proposed amendment to the Rose Lockport Center plan development for a commercial development acceptable, the following motions are suggested. A motion to adopt staff's findings of facts to recommend approval of the major amendment to the plan development for Rose Lockport Center. And B, a motion to recommend approval of the amendment to preliminary and final development plan and preliminary and final subdivision plat for Rose Lockport Center, subject to the following conditions. 1, all necessary governmental agency permits, IEPA, et cetera, are required before any construction is to commence. 2, a pre-construction meeting shall be scheduled with the Director of Public Works and Engineering or his designee prior to the start of construction activities. And 3, the applicant shall submit a financial guarantee for all private site improvements in accordance with the city's development code. This concludes staff's analysis, and the applicant is here this evening for questions.
Thank you, Kimberly. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this matter? If so, please come forward to the podium.
So do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Please state your name and address for the record, sir.
Joe Glaudy, my address is 1322 Lacoma. And my concerns were about the area by Lot 5 or whatever.
Okay.
I border the edge of Lot 5, and what's going to happen with the development there? On the other plans, there was, it was written in there for a 5-foot fence along that entire area, and now that's not on there, and it was also, now there's a sidewalk going in there, a public sidewalk going through, connected into our subdivision.
So I have an understanding. Are you in the new duplexes there behind the car
Yes.
wash? Okay.
Yes.
And then so there was a fence, supposed to be a fence there?
On the original plan, I got copies from the city or whatever, the original plan that was submitted and stuff like that, and it had a 5-foot fence going down the western edge of the whole complex.
From this plan, not the duplex plan?
No, from this plan,
This
correct.
plan, okay.
Right. But that and the sidewalk are my concerns, because on this, that all runs right along where my townhouse is.
Sure. I call it duplexes, I'm sorry, townhouses.
Town, yeah, duplex, whatever.
Okay. Okay, we'll get a question, answer for that. Bob, do you have anything on that sidewalk or fence?
I can talk about the sidewalk. I might defer to planning
Their
on
engineering,
the
yeah.
screening. Yeah, so,
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Please come forward. Sorry, I didn't see your hand there.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
My name is Mary Ann Callens, and I lived at 1326 Lacoma Court. I am probably a neighbor a little bit further down,
Okay, so you're in the townhomes also?
and like, the whole business area or the community is backed up to my backyard.
Okay.
So I'm like there's like 20 feet from there up to the property line. So my backyard is going to be right in their backyard.
Okay,
We're backing up, so my concern is, I would like to have a fence, a solid fence,
okay.
okay?
Okay, we'll get an answer for
All
you.
right, thank you.
Okay, would the developer like to come forward, please?
Kim, can we switch?
Ms. Menza, if you could raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Diane Menza, 406 Linden Avenue, Oak Park, Illinois, 60302. What do I do? Okay. And what happens? Okay, got it. Thank you. As I said, I'm Diane Menza. I represent the owners of the property, Shelby LLC. We have gone through the process first with Murphy's in the beginning of 2016 and did a site plan that was referred to that had an 11,000 square foot retail lot 1. There were only, there was lot 1, lot 2, and lot 3 was sold to Murphy's. We don't own that. There was the detention pond, and there was lot 5. The current, the plan that went to concept meeting, I'll go to there. The plan that went to concept meeting last year, really minor difference between what is being proposed today and what was at the concept meeting, and that is between Lot 1A and 1B, the boundary has moved a little bit north to make both lots approximately 1 acre. Lot 1A previously was slightly larger. That's the major difference in the plan. Some other differences at the city's requirement, we had to connect a sidewalk to Clover Ridge. So that was a requirement of the city. We had, at the original landscaping plan, we had both built a mound, a slight berm on the property line. When you go past Murphy's, the remainder, which is Lot 5, and the detention, but detention was already handled, sorry. We did a berm and some landscaping on there as a break because there was no Clover Ridge at the time. So I think that addresses where we were at in 2016 and where we were at with the concept meeting. The interior circulation road has slightly changed, only to line up the future cross-access onto the property that is north and west of ours, that faces 159th, Silver Cross.
Silver Cross property,
The Silver
yes.
Cross property. And then also, there was some adjustments to the ingress-egress point by Culvers and to their cross-access. But for the most part, you know, it's the circulation road lining up and making some accommodations, working with village staff and their engineer, and making the changes required. So that's kind of the changes that we've made. And I'm going to have our architect and our civil engineer up to kind of walk through in better detail than I have on these. As Kim mentioned, our plan is to start construction as soon as we get final city council approval and meet all the requirements that are set out here. And so we're requesting that we get the final development plan approved here today, which is conceptually the same as the concept plan, and also get the final, or preliminary, whatever you call it, the final
Preliminary and final, yes.
subdivision plat approved. And I'm gonna, with me tonight is Tom Siebert from Seuss Architects. I have Joe Antonelli from Spaceco, and the bulk of the work that you see here is with Spaceco, because it's civil in nature. And then I also have Javier Milan from KLOA, who will not present but will answer questions. He updated the traffic study that was done previously, and I will point out that one of the elements that once the city's engineer reviewed the traffic study, we made that accommodation, and that was to stripe on Farrell Road a deacceleration lane that starts at a certain point that he designated and then takes you left into the property at that northeast access point. So, Tom, do you want to?
Well, so you're proposing a berm, not a fence, along the west property line?
We had built that. The berm was built. And so, yeah, that's kind of what we were planning on keeping, and then just doing the landscaping. Exactly.
Yeah, so just to be clear, much of this was already constructed as a part of the earlier plan. And so what we have confirmed with the applicant is that anything that is missing from that earlier plan will be installed. So the 2016 plan that was included in your packet is the approved landscape plan that was part of the earlier development. To require additional plantings or other thing would be outside of that earlier plan.
What was approved before, yes.
And for reference, that's the one that says 16 canopy trees, 48 evergreens, and 112 shrubs along that west border, I believe.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I thought it was.
Your site plan was a lot better. Yeah.
Would you please state your, sir, just swear you in first.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Name is Tom Siebert with Seuss Associates Architects. My address is 1605 East Oakton in Arlington Heights. Previous differences from the previous plan, as Diane had mentioned, essentially the largest adjustment is we've straightened out, not 100% straight, but straightened out the interior drive lane that runs along the back of lots 1A, B, and 2, and through the east side of lot 5, so that it's an easier drive through without any right-angle turns from the previous version of the site. And got my list of adjustments here. We've also have some, Spaceco can go into this a little earlier with Mr. Antonelli. We have a retaining wall at the north end of the lot in order to maintain proper slope for the paving area and still meet the necessary grade at the property line. We've also added
That's
some...
for lot 1A, the retaining wall?
Sorry.
The retaining wall is for lot 1A?
Yes.
The
On
elevation
1A,
change from
yes.
Culvers?
It's on the very north edge of the parking lot.
Right.
We also have some additional sidewalks. We've got the connecting sidewalk going all the way from Farrell Road frontage through lots back to the Clover Ridge development. The sidewalk in the middle area would be built when the particular lots are developed.
Right.
But that is all prearranged for that portion of the site. And we've also, since the previous presentation, we've provided the pole lighting with appropriate photometrics to show that it doesn't spill over off the site, and it provides adequate minimum lighting throughout what's going to be developed, this portion of the project. The lighting does not affect any of the undeveloped portions, which will be addressed when those get developed. I'm not sure if there's much more to explain. We do have some parking that is part of this development along the Farrell Road frontage. There's only a small amount of parking for Lot 5 that's on the west through access road, mainly because it'd be difficult to develop that parking at a later date for that site later on.
Okay. Any other questions?
Mine's more along timing. It's under my understanding that the northern part of the site would be built first for Lot 1A. The access would be reconfigured along Farrell, and then and then all of the cross easements would be built, and then the lands in between would be filled in as, you know, you got tenants approved and signed and all that sort of thing.
Right. I believe we're pretty much have things arranged for Lot 1A, but I don't know the status of lots 1B and 2 and 5. That would be something for Diane to respond to.
Sure.
Lot 1A is,
Please come to the podium if you're going to respond.
Lot 1A has applied for planning and zoning. That's Panda. And we've coordinated with them throughout this process, so they had everything that we had. And they've even determined to utilize Space Co. So Joe here will introduce himself and swear in, but he has been the one coordinating to make sure that Panda site has all the same elements to it that we're showing on our site plan.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Motion to close public hearing.
I'll let the other man.
I'll make the motion, close public hearing.
You can ask him. Motion by Deskin, second by Maloney. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, questions, comments?
Well, I'd like to comment on the sidewalk. That was a requirement that the city made, 7 years ago, to connect the, what became the, at the time, is that there wasn't any townhome concept at that time. It was in the event that there would be a future development where the townhomes currently are, then that's why that sidewalk was there. I can remember we had quite an extensive discussion about berms and landscaping, and my recollection is the landscaping that is there now was over and above what our minimum requirements were. I just happened to drive through the subdivision today just to see the update, and I was amazed at how thick that landscaping is now. We go back just 10 years ago, it was flat land from Farrell Road all the way to whatever the street is where Coombs and the car wash is, whatever street that is.
Clover Ridge Drive.
Clover Ridge Drive, and it was flat, and so we required all of that, and we did not require a fence, and I even thought I saw that on the townhome side, it appeared they're some pretty big pines or something like, not arborvitae's, but some type of an evergreen there. And I don't know if that was a requirement from the, I don't recall if there was a requirement from the townhome developer that he or she put those in there.
No, those are part of the original 2016
Yeah,
installation.
yeah.
We've been working with them on some of the property maintenance now that some of the units in Clover
Yeah,
Ridge have been
yeah.
constructed,
Yeah.
to try and make sure that all of that is cleaned up, and that'll be a part of the approval, site
Yeah,
approval
yeah.
process.
So this developer here has met all the requirements over the past 7 years that we have made, and I'm not gonna recommend a fence on top of the berm.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I had a question regarding the traffic study and those results. Is there any recommendation, like, is the traffic expected to reach the point of requiring a signal? I know there's the deceleration lane, and I think that it'll end up being fine, but those left turns, especially in peak hours, can be fairly difficult. And I was just wondering if you'd be able to share some of those results of the recommendations from the traffic study.
Sure.
And also, sorry, one last thing. If that traffic study also included the culvers, if you're going to keep those full access points that close together for this new proposed one and the existing one at Culvers.
Correct.
So the public portion of the hearing was like closed. If you want me to swear him in, I can do that. So
have to.
for the future, if there are any questions where you want someone to state the fact or, find a fact, it should all be done on a, public hearing portion of it. If there's any internal deliberation afterwards among the commissioners themselves, you do that after the close. So, but anyways, I will swear you in just to make sure. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Javier Milan. I'm a principal of KLOA, and we conducted the original traffic study when this was approved. Just as a point of reference, this new revised plan generates slightly less traffic than the previous one during the weekday AM peak hour and the weekday PM peak hour, and about the same, slightly more, in the Saturday, because it's restaurants, So we analyze all intersections, just like it was done in the previous traffic study, including Culvers, including Murphy's Oil, and typical of any traffic study, we don't analyze in a vacuum. We go 5 years past, so 2028, and we get growth factors from CMAP, which is the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. So we take all that into account and we analyze it. With regards to the volumes, none of the volumes warrant the need for a signal. However, as you mentioned, and you know it, right now there's a two-way left turn lane, and it was recommended, and we agree, that now with the addition of these restaurants, rather than having the two-way left turn lane, it should be striped, as an exclusive turn lane to aid vehicles in making the turns into the site, So those lanes are gonna be striped following IDOT standards, and again, you can see it, it's, the width is in there, so it's just a matter of restriping, just to better accommodate it. But, like I mentioned, everything is slightly less than what was approved before, so it works a little bit better than what was, analyzed last time. And the volumes, again, they do not warrant a new signal.
Okay, no, that's great. I just wanted to, get those results shared with the group, and particularly some of the residents, so, thank you.
Thank you much. And also, one other thing, when Culvers was put in, and Lance and I talked about this, and Darren and I did, they received a full access, and in the agreement, it was supposed to be, when the cross-access road was put in, they would have to go to a right-in, right-out access. But speaking with Lance, our city engineer says it's far enough away that he doesn't see any problem with it, just so everybody knows where that's at. Scott, you're shaking your head.
I don't believe it.
I'm not the engineer. Bob, did you have any comments on that or know anything about it?
I don't specifically recall the right-in, right-out requirement from Culvers. It is a good distance away. This one has left and right turn lanes separate of each other, aligned with Jewel. But I can't specifically comment on the Culvers
Right.
agreement. I was not aware of that.
Okay.
I was. Yeah, the original Culver's agreement called for a right-in, right-out pork chop drive when the rest of this got developed, but it was ultimately decided it wasn't necessary.
Are you asking me that? I'm sorry.
No,
Okay.
he's
That's what I thought.
I'm just
Okay.
backing up Dave
Okay.
here,
Okay.
because we were both here then.
Okay.
And I'll just say, I'm happy for the development. I think it's exciting to see more things coming in. But when you are exiting Jewel south on the Farrell at peak travel times, without that new intersection from the west, from this development, it's still difficult to turn south from Jewel at peak times. I do it all the time. And sometimes I'm tempted to drive all the way back around to Chase and Sonic and come out that light. And so how this can be less, it doesn't make sense to me, but just, I'll find another route to turn south on the Farrell from Jewel. Is there, Lance, is there accommodation in Clover Ridge to connect that sidewalk?
A combination?
Accommodation.
Yes. So as a part of the Clover Ridge plans, that was a final development plan request from the city council, and it was installed, and it's already there.
Okay.
We worked with the developer of the Clover Ridge townhomes to locate that, to make sure that it worked within the grading and the materials that were used. So it already exists, and this is simply connecting it. And the concept behind the council's request for it is it allows those residents that live in Clover Ridge to be able to access the restaurants and other uses that would be here, as opposed to walking out to Clover Ridge Drive, out to 159th Street, around 159th Street to Farrell and back through. So that was the concept behind including that sidewalk. And I would say on the traffic study, and I don't want to speak for the KLOA representative, but my understanding is because there was a multi-tenant building in the place before, the types of uses were different, and they had more daytime uses in there, and so it generated more traffic because there was more square footage of uses on the site than there are currently.
Okay. Hopefully the high school folks migrating after football games to this area will avoid that little secret sidewalk. So anyway.
Yeah, it would be a long way for them to
Yeah, it's
go
a little-
through the
it's a little
neighborhood.
out of their
Yeah.
way. I assume
They
they'll
all go
take-
Farrell. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
I'm good with it.
Okay, motion, do we have a motion? Guess not. Go ahead. He's-
I'd like to make a motion, sorry. I'd like to make a motion to adopt staff's finding of facts to recommend approval of the major amendment to the plan development for the Rose Lockport Center, and a motion to recommend, maybe those simultaneously?
Two separate motions.
Yep.
No, I second
We need a second on the
I
first
second
one.
it.
Second by Wheeler.
And another motion to recommend approval of amendment to preliminary final development plan and preliminary final subdivision plat for Rose Lockport Center, subject to the following three conditions.
Which are
This is in the staff
the conditions. in
Out-
the report.
Go to the
Outline,
staff report.
yep, outline in the staff report. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a motion for approval. What a second. Roll call vote, please. Any questions or comments?
We're voting on the first motion?
Pardon me?
We're voting on the first motion?
Yes. We have two motions. We're voting on the first one. Roll call vote, please.
Okay, I've got Garland as the motion and Wheeler as the second. So Wheeler,
Yes.
Garland,
Yes.
Maloney,
Yes.
Oxley,
Yes,
Peters,
Yes.
Likens,
Yes.
Deskin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
thank you. Second motion, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, any questions or
It's the
comments?
same
on it?
motion and second then? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Okay, Wheeler,
Yes.
Garland,
Yes.
Maloney,
Yes.
Oxley,
Yes,
Peters,
Yes.
Likens,
Yes.
Deskin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
thank you very much. That'll go before city council in this room, April 5th, 7 PM. Any other questions or comments? Did everyone turn in their economic interest statements?
I did.
Yes.
Thank you.
May. Yeah, the deadline, I believe, is May 5th. You probably got your first notice to make sure that you do that. It's all online.
Yeah, we got it yesterday.
Okay, Yep.
What's that?
Got the
You got
first
it
notice
yesterday.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got your, about a month ago yesterday. You gotta be specific with him, Sonny, right to the point. All right, any other questions or comments? Motion to adjourn? Motion by Peters,
Second.
second by Garland. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion